Welcome to the Cincinnati Asian Art Society's February 23rd, 2025 program. I'm Helen Rinsberg, president of the Society. Our program today is Hidden Treasures, East Asian Art at the Cincinnati Art Museum. Dr. Hou-mei Sung, our curator of East Asian Art at the Cincinnati Art Museum, will take us behind the scenes, I think that's why a lot of you are here, in the museum's permanent collection to see some beautiful artworks that have never been on display. Dr. Sung received her BA in Foreign Languages and Literature and an MA in Chinese History, both from the National Taiwan University. She also earned a PhD in Museum Studies from the Case Western Reserve University. Prior to coming to Cincinnati, Dr. Sung served as a research associate at the Cleveland Museum of Art and a variety of research and teaching positions in museum and academic fields in Asia and throughout the United States, including the National Palace Museum in Taipei, Taiwan, John Carroll University, Case Western Reserve University, and Cleveland State University. This is why I call her the International Art Detective. She also worked as the executive officer of the Chinese American Faculty and Staff Association and program director of the Chinese Arts and Culture Celebration at Cleveland State University. Her research on the Ming Court painting received a Fulbright scholarship in 2000. Dr. Sung has curated such popular exhibits as Dress to Kill, Japanese Arms and Armor, Masterpieces of Japanese Art. She has over 50 publications, including the one for Decoded Messages, the symbolic language of Chinese animal painting, which I will say proudly is used as a text at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. She has also organized the Terracotta Army and been involved with that catalog, the legacy of the first emperor of China, recently Galloping Through Dynasties, and her most recent exhibition, From Shanghai to Ohio, for the popular 2024 exhibit on the Chinese immigrant artist Wu Chongyang. May we have this amazing behind-the-scenes work today from Dr. Sung.
Thank you, Helen, for the great introduction. Thank you so much for coming this afternoon. And I'll try to be a little brief today because we are going to have a special viewing of some of these hidden treasures later. And today I'm going to introduce some East Asian artworks in our museum that few people have the chance to see. Because of the lack of our gallery space, and many of the artworks have never been put on public display. And this time I selected two groups of ceramic works. The first group is shipwreck ceramics, and that include Changsha ware from a shipwreck, a Bailey Tong shipwreck of 9th century, which is Tang Dynasty. And the other group, the other shipwreck ceramic is some Chinese export saladon or green glazed export wares from the 13th century shipwreck. And the second group I'm going to introduce is our museum's collection of sake bottles, sake cups, and some Japanese sake cup holders. These were things that has been in storage for a long time and never been shown. And following this, as Helen mentioned, we are going to have a viewing of some of them, and one of the sake cup is a little surprise. Has a little surprise for you. Okay, let's go. I cannot use this to move. Oh, there. Okay, this is what I'm going to talk about. And then, okay, this piece is a shipwreck ceramic of Changsha ware. in 2003, I came here 2002. 2003, an Indonesian dealer contacted me, and he wanted to sell this shipwreck ceramic. And it was recovered from the 9th century shipwreck at the Bailey Tong. I will introduce this shipwreck shortly. And as you can see, it's decorated with Chinese wild, so-called wild cursive calligraphy. And I'll introduce the calligraphy also later. But first, let's look at the map. Okay. This is, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Bailey Tong shipwreck because there are many, many shipwrecks in this region, and this one is particularly well documented. There are many shipwrecks in this region that's not well documented. Just about 12 centuries ago, an Arab merchant ship originated from Guangzhou, China, struck a reef just off the coast of Bailey Tong, as you can see on the map. It's a small island in the Java Sea, in the Sumatra, Indonesia region. And the cargo includes lead ingots, bronze mirrors, spice-filled jars, gold and silver vessels, and more than 60,000 ceramics. And this ship was bound for today's Iran or Iraq. And it is one of the earliest ships found in the Southeast Asian so far. And it provides proof of active maritime trade in the 9th century among China, Southeast Asia, and West Asia. The ship remained buried at sea for more than a millennium. And its contents was protected by their packing and the conditions of the seafloor. And in 1996, the site was first discovered by the Indonesian fishermen. And in 1997 to 1999, there's official excavation and report. I have to mention here that in Indonesia, the commercial salvage of shipwrecks was legal. In 2001, UNESCO created the Convention on the Protection of the Underwater Cultural Heritage, which bans commercial exploitation of underwater cultural heritage. However, it doesn't really apply much in Indonesia. So there are numerous official and unofficial shipwrecks in this same region, and it was salvaged by private or official companies. But anyway, and let me go down. Okay, this piece, I must introduce this piece, is very unique. This piece currently is in the gallery, in our Asian gallery. And oh, by the way, I should also mention that this ship was dated to occur, the shipwreck was the date of the shipwreck is now known as 826 AD. This is based on the dated Chinese coins and some dates of the ceramics. And okay, this Changsha bowl, this is a bowl, and you can see it was decorated with 8 characters written in wild cursive and arranged from the right to the left in 3 columns. And first, I want to, before I talk about this piece, I want to introduce Chinese writing, okay? Chinese calligraphy, Chinese writing has 4 different styles. from the earliest, actually the earliest is the oracle bones script and the pictograph. And you can see the first seal script still looks, this character, by the way, means water. You can see it still looks like running water, right? So the second one is the clerical script, and then the standard, and then the running or cursive, and then finally the wild cursive. So these are the 4 styles. And the wild cursive is a very rapid cursive, written in a very fast and way of writing, which all the strokes are connected. I'll give you some examples here. The wild cursive was made, this calligraphy style was made popular in the Tang Dynasty by a monk called Hou-mei. And he was active about the 8th century. And he's an eccentric monk and became one of the most famous master of wild cursive calligraphy. Well, according to his historical legend, he drank heavily to rid himself of inhibitions and allow his true feelings to come out before taking up the brush. And these are his writings in the National Palace Museum in Taipei. And you can see that this wild cursive calligraphy is on the Changsha bowl is directly related to the calligraphy of Hou-mei, because Hou-mei is, he was a native of Changsha. This is Changsha ware. So you can see this kind of calligraphy was very widely popular in the 9th century in Changsha, and when Changsha ware became a dominant type of ceramic wares. Because this type of calligraphy is very difficult to master, few people are known for this calligraphy. Only the most disciplined can enjoy this freedom. While wild cursive is a more dynamic expression of human spirit and visually exciting in an abstract fashion, but it often becomes illegible. And the reason actually the Indonesian dealer came to me to sell this piece was originally he was not going to sell this. He knows the value of this because among the tens and thousands of Changsha ware on the ship, I think there are only 2 pieces with this calligraphy. And he was going to ask me to decipher the character. And he asked 2 curators, one in San Francisco Asian Art Museum and me. And I tried my best and deciphered part of it. And the San Francisco Asian Art Curator also did some. So combining our efforts, we did the whole thing. And both the San Francisco Art Curator and me, we want to buy this piece. We know this is extremely important. Can you imagine 9th century ceramic and representing the wild cursive made popular by the monk Hou-mei? And I have the script translated there. You see the character. And but the dealer did not want to sell. He kept it for many years until several years later, I don't remember how many, he come to me and said, now I'm ready to sell. So I immediately purchased. So this is a very precious piece. Then as I will soon introduce Changsha ware, you will see it is very unique and rare. Because let's see what is normal Changsha ware looks like. This is a typical Changsha ware. And we also bought these 3 pieces together with the other bowl. And as you can, I will briefly introduce Changsha. Changsha ware is Changsha was the most important ceramic production center in the Tang Dynasty. And it was the Changsha potters who first introduced underglazed painting in the 9th century. And the kiln of Changsha ware reached its peak in the late 9th century, and its main products were daily utensil wares, like covered with green and brown glazes, as you can see. And they're typically decorated with freely painted cloud scrolling patterns, spirals, and sometimes abstract patterns of foliage and flowers. You can see it's quite beautiful. It's almost like a modern, contemporary kind of style. And, this is the typical kind. And there are also, other than bowls, you can see, this is another typical Changsha ware. This is a jar, a ewer, with a molded motif. This is in a museum in Hunan. But the most remarkable type of Changsha ware, the most unique, I would say, Changsha ware, type of Changsha ware is those decorated with poems. It's that 9th century. Can you imagine? People are really very cultured at that time. And it is not surprising because during the 8th and 9th century, it was the golden age in China of Tang poetry. Chinese poetry reached its golden age. And the poems written on lots of Changsha ware, Changsha bowls and wares are mostly quoted passages of simple and popular kind. Sometimes it's just like a song, lyrics. And they typically those poems typically concerned with the sorrows of parting and the nostalgia for homes and the loved ones. And these three are excavated from the kiln site. So you can see each of them have a poem. And you see on the bottom, I put the Chinese there. And I have a very good assistant. He has been studying Chinese for more than 10 years. So I give him a test. I want him to translate. So I'm going to read you what he translated, okay? The one from the left to the right. This one says, a bird caught in a net regrets not flying higher. And the middle one says, a fish hanging on a hook regrets not enduring its hunger. And the right one is kind of interesting moral lessons. And the right one says it's a love poem. It says, separated by thousands of Chinese miles, I don't know when you will return. Of the 30 days in a month, there's not one night I don't miss you. And by the way, the Chinese miles, 1,000 miles equals 311 our miles, Western miles, okay? So you can see all this calligraphy is the common standard, more like standard kind of casual writing. And it's not like our wild cursive bowl. So that is very rare because these are for popular people to read and enjoy, but our bowl is appreciated just for the calligraphy. So it's cut from a document. It's not it doesn't make too much sense because it's just copied from probably somebody like Huaisu's calligraphy and put there to enjoy the calligraphy. That's why it's so special. Okay, then let's look. The dealer also, this same dealer from Indonesia also gifted our museum with some shell-encrusted pieces from other shipwrecks, which are not too clearly documented, I must say. So you can see these are Sung ceramics. The typical celadon. So mostly mid-13th century. Very likely they come from a Java Sea wreck, which that shipwreck contains 20,973 Chinese export and ceramics, and also some Thai ceramics. So that's what I suspect, but we don't have any clear documentation from the dealer. And let me show you more examples. These are all ours. Beautiful, I love them. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And this is the one you will see later. Okay, next I want to introduce, these are all 13th century. The museum also have a large amount of sake bottles and cup holders. These were collected by the Japanese artist Shiraya Madani. You may know he was he was hired by Rookwood in Cincinnati and to work at Rookwood as a decorator. And Shiraya Madani collected these from Japan in 1893 when he returned to Japan to visit and collected ceramics for Rookwood as samples, for study samples. And they were all gifted to the museum in 1900. And for the sake bottles, we have about 200. But I cannot display them easily because our gallery is so small. That's why I'm really glad you have a chance to see some of them today. I think I only brought 3 because we have quite a group of ceramics to show you. You know, to take them out on the weekend, it's not easy, really. We have to, like, sign them out, a lot of procedures, thanks to Eric. Okay. Okay, and then we also have, I don't know if you know about cup holders. Old-fashioned Japanese, I'm sure most of you from Japan know, the sake cup holders used to have sake cup used to have a cup holder. And these are all cup holders. And that was new to me when I first came here. And we have 101 cup holders, also collected by Shiraya Madani from Japan. And so these, you will see some of them today too. I wish I have enough space, I can display more. Now, the sake cups. This is one, I'm showing here 7 sake cups. These were collected by Eleanor Lee Hart. Eleanor Lee Hart is a retired teacher and counselor served in Japan during the Allied occupation period from 1945 to 1952. He also taught in Cincinnati, Detroit, Tokyo, and Yokohama. And when he retired, when he died, his daughter brought her collection, these 7 cups and some other things to give to our museum. And I will show you, these are 7 cups. All of them I put on display later, you can see. And they are small, so even if I display, you probably have a hard time to see them well. And they are decorated interior and outside, exterior, and they also have the inscriptions on the bottom. That's what I mean when this type of thing is very hard to display and it's hard for you to see. So I'm glad we have this chance to show everyone. It won't move. Did I do something wrong? Oh, thank God, DeMarco is here. Always rescue us. Okay, this is not a very professional photography. It's only my snapshot. That's a cow. I don't know if, but these you can see later, okay? This is one. This just show you detail because even if you see, you cannot see all sides. This is a kudami ware. This is decorated even more. So you can see, maybe some of you expert can help me translate this outside calligraphy. Kudami ware, most of them. This is cute. A little tiger. Okay. This last one is the little surprise today. All of you sign up can take a look. As you can see, it's on the cup it says Enoshima. Enoshima is a small island off the coast of Japan's Kanagawa prefecture. It is a very popular tourist site known for the Enoshima Shrine, which honors the Benzaiten. And it is also known for hot springs and a botanical garden, a garden established by the English merchant Samuel Cocking in 1862. And the special thing is, you probably see that this in the middle, there is a little crystal, right? When I received this cup, it's a little unusual, so nothing really stands out. But one day, I'm just curious, I just pulled it up and look against the light. And guess what I see? I see a beautiful girl picture in there. But you cannot see it from the top or the bottom. It's just a crystal. So this is what you're going to be able to see if you sign up. Even if the museum staff cannot really see it, because normally we don't handle artworks too easily. But anyway, you with the gloves and you come to the room, if you sign up, we'll take turns to look at it. And for those of you who didn't sign up or cannot stay, I'll show you a picture, which is impossible to take. Our photographer is amazing. He experimented and tried numerous ways, and he did it. So you will see this hidden picture, okay? I suspect this is a honeymoon couple and trying to make a souvenir. Somehow they did, but I haven't seen a second one. This is the picture. See, it's hard to see, right? But you see the eyes? That's a beautiful girl. Okay. So that's the end of the lecture. I want to save time for you to enjoy. Look at the object.
Thank you, Dr. Sung, and thank you to Marco for turning the lights on. So it's question and answer time, and I'm going to be the first one. On the Changsha ware, what minerals maybe were used to paint that got the almost silvery look to the Changsha? Yeah.
That I really don't know.
Oh.
But some of them are lead-based.
Why don't you come over here?
I believe some of them could be lead-based paint, because for burial ceramic, we often find like the Tangsan Cai, the three-colored glaze, they sometimes have a sheen, very silvery look. I'm not a real ceramist, so I don't really know precisely.
Okay. All right. So who has the first question? Oh, come on. Janet.
I just have a sort of broad question. Obviously, your museum has thousands of pieces that have never been displayed, and for the most part, I would assume it's kind of like that scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark, where it's just shelves of boxes. What's the rationale for a museum taking in pieces that it never shows?
Okay, let me repeat the question there. What is the rationale for a museum bringing in a lot of items, artworks, but not showing them? Okay?
Okay, it's not that we don't want to show. There are several possibilities. First one, if it's damaged or it's light sensitive. For light sensitive materials like prints, we have a print curator there, she can tell you more, or my Japanese, Chinese paintings, they are light sensitive. So according to the conservation rule, you display like 3 to 6 months, you must rest them for a few years. And also, there are some things, mainly in my case, the problem is the space. As you can see, I have the Asian gallery now. I don't even have a separate Japanese gallery. I cut half of the gallery, cut the Chinese gallery in half and show some Japanese. Ideally, it should be totally separated. But space, there's no space. I keep asking, can we have a space for more Japanese artworks? Because Japanese art is bigger than Chinese. But there's no space. Unless the museum give me a space, I cannot put them up. Yes.
But then, I guess on an ethical level, why would a museum purchase or bring in pieces knowing that, at least for the foreseeable future, forever, they don't have plans to have space? It seems as if
Oh, things can change. First of all, we do want to have a full interpretation of East Asian art. And we want to preserve high quality works of art for education, for interpretation. That's our mission. However, whether we don't have space now, maybe someday people donate a lot of money, we can build a space. That's the hope.
But everything is photographed and cataloged. So
Yes.
theoretically, the museum, even if they don't display pieces, could have a platform or a venue where people could still see pieces.
Oh, this is a
in the same way.
We
Ve-
do have.
Yes, very good question, because all the pieces I don't have chance to see, you never know, because once I organize a show that has a specific theme, then I can pull out anything related to that theme and show. That's why there are so many things. When I did the Japanese arms and armor dress to kill, I pulled out all the things that I've never seen before, because in the general display, you don't necessarily pull out the specialty kind of thing. You want to have a full historical interpretation. So doesn't mean they will never come out. It just, with a special exhibition, with a special featured small thematic display, they are all possible. And we can also, in my catalog, when I publish, I can put everything in. So for the full interpretation. So it is important to have, for example, if I have a gap in Japanese art history collection, I want to buy a few paintings to fill the gap, and I can do a full interpretation, whether it's through display or catalog or research for local students. Anything is possible.
We also have the new Jacobs Center, which you will be going into to see the artworks today, where as a docent we got this training that guests can, I don't know that they've got all the ins and outs done yet, but guests can come in and say, may I see these artworks? You have an appointment, you come in and you can see them for study purposes. I'll just personally say I have to thank Kristen Spangenberg, because I'll be giving a gallery talk on March the 8th on street performers, and she helped me go through 1,000 of the Japanese woodblock prints that we have here on display that met, and then found the ones that met the criteria I needed for my gallery talk. We are also, docents are doing a lot to do the cam looks, which are available on YouTube, and pulling things out. I pulled a whole lot of Japanese prints out and have done 4 to 5 minute videos on those that people can see. But if you go to the Art Museum's website, if you go under Art tab, you go down to Explore the Collection, there are two things you can do. You can explore it with selected artworks for each of the major curatorial areas, or you can plug in something, which what I was doing, I was plugging in Kunisada because I needed a kabuki print. And I scrolled through 300 prints we have of Kunisada, maybe?
One was 800.
Okay, yeah, the wise one was 800. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, it's all online, and it's all available all the time. I mean, I've done things at 11 o'clock at night when something came up that I needed. The other good thing is sometimes teachers will say, for a school tour, can you give me a preview that I can show my students? And I'll just send the links to the teacher, and it's really fun because the kids come in and go, oh, that's what we saw in class. It's so much bigger than we thought it was going to be, or it's so much smaller, or really, the collection is used a lot. But it's a great question. Last time Cameron Kitchen talked to us, we have 67,000 artworks in the museum collection. About 6,000 are on display at any one time in the museum, and all of them are photographed and available at, just put the right search term in. So, good, thank you, Janet. You helped a lot of people learn a lot today, I think. Becky?
In the past, Hou-mei has mentioned the fact that there were a lot of things that had been accepted as donations that really don't have a lot of provenance to them, that there's a lot that has to be done in research on. And I was curious when I was listening to Janet and thinking, well, how many of those works were received, say, before 1920, before we had air conditioning, heating and cooling, and people would just buy something overseas. So is most of our collection from that 1881 to 1920 period, or most of 1920 to now?
Okay, depends on the collection, so let me repeat the question. When was a lot collected, and what kind of, how much research must be done to establish provenance, to establish, sometimes just what the subject is, if you want to know the truth. Hou-mei
Well,
showed,
I remember Hou-mei saying before that she found some stuff that she didn't realize we had, and it never been translated into the
let me turn it over to Hou-mei, because she's got some really interesting stories about the Japanese collection and how it got here.
Yes. That's really a good question. That touches the whole my history here. I have been, you can say, it's a challenge and it's a great excitement because of discovery. Since I arrived, because after I arrived, our Asian art department established the first independent department. Before it was lumped with other departments. It's not a department. So since then, I've been tracing, and to answer your question, the core, the best of our heavyweight of our collection comes in 1880s to early 20th century. This is, as you know, Cincinnati was the very important city because of the Ohio River and everything. So we have so many civic leaders, collectors, wealthy people who travel around the world at that time. And they brought back, mostly, as this is especially true with the Japanese collection, they brought back almost, I would say like 80% of our Japanese best collection are collected during that time. And then that's the good thing, because they collected so early, everything's available. But bad news is, when they arrived at the museum in 1880s, can you imagine any Asian people here as curator to register them, to document them? No. We don't have any staff in the 1880s who can read Chinese or Japanese, who can say, oh, this signature is so-and-so. They cannot even tell if this is Chinese or Japanese. They cannot tell. So there's a group of Japanese painting, about 20-some. It's called alphabetic scrolls. It's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Scroll A, scroll B, because nobody knows this is Chinese or Japanese, who is it, when is it painted. There's an inscription there, but nobody can read them. So it's so exciting when I came, I discovered, and I tried to accession them. There was a problem because the museum is very strict on their property. They say there's no number, there's no information. How do you know it's ours? What if it's a loan? so I was discussing with the registrar, but finally I said, well, normally if we have something normally, we advertise on the newspaper that people claim, right? But in this case, unknown painting, unknown when it came in, unknown nothing. How do you let people claim? So finally, no, they still won't let me. So I did a lot of archival research. I went through the director's correspondence and things like that, and I found out this alphabetic scrolls matched, for, let's say, the alphabetic scrolls is 23, and I matched the exact missing from a donation by Robert Bloom, an American painter who went to Japan in the 1880s, and he brought back this scroll. It clearly said missing kakemono, something like that, so I know it's scroll painting missing. When they matched, then I was allowed to register. And even now, we have numerous things, still have no provenance. If you notice in the gallery, sometimes we have a work on display. It starts with X. X 1960.2. That means we don't know who gave it to us or when. But you must understand that in 1880s, the register is not today's register. It is difficult at that time. Even today, I am very lucky. I have a research volunteer, Nancy, right there. Her job is to research all the unknown, questionable. She went through all the archives and helped me see if we can find something. It's tedious work. You can see how she is very frustrated. Presentation. Oh, the folding screen. That was in Joseph Tom's. We know it's not alphabetic.
No, I know that, but you learned that.
Oh, yeah. Well, the more you research, the more you found. We have a group of painting given to us by a Cincinnati businessman who learned, who after listening to Fenollosa's lecture, you know Fenollosa is a very important American who went to Japan in the 1880s again, invited by the Japanese government to teach in Tokyo, they call Imperial National University at that time, and to teach, I think it's biology, philosophy. And he developed strong interest in Japanese art. He started to work with the government. He studied Japanese painting, and he helped recover a whole lot of treasures, actually. But anyway, he worked with the Japanese government on what to promote in the art world. He played a big role, and then he started collecting, and at that time, Cincinnati invited him to give talks. So this businessman was inspired. He went to Japan and then started collecting with Fenollosa as his advisor. And he collected one of the treasures we have, which is Genji, the depiction of Genji Monogatari, and that painting is the only one probably painted by a female artist of the 17th century, that late 16th, early 17th century. That is a treasure. And the Japanese government really helped us restore it because of the importance. So very soon, I am organizing a show called Rediscovered Treasures. This means anything came to the museum that was not accessioned, that I later accessioned, added to the collection, or anything that has a wrong identity or no identity, or, for example, something that's considered a Korean Buddhist painting, it turned out to be a Chinese Buddhist painting, or a Japanese turned to be a Chinese, or whatever the nationality, the artist was misidentified or missing. So anything changed the identity, we will put in this show. Anything missing an identity without not even accession, like the alphabetic scrolls, will be in the show. And then finally, there will be all the paintings that was in pieces, came to the museum that's damaged or broken, that we restored, give it a new life. That will also be in this show. So it's called Rediscovered Treasures. It's happening this October, so please come and see. No, September, sorry.
Two questions, and we uncover all this information. It's really fantastic. I do have to say that Hou-mei is an incredible researcher. I swear she spends every weekend looking for more stuff like this so that she can document it, especially the presentation to print screen, because she had the right connection in Japan that took a look at it and went, wait a minute, I need to get this to the right person in the Cultural Properties Department, which got us probably $100,000 worth of restoration work, and then they sent it back to us so that we could share it with our community. And I have to thank the Cincinnati Asian Art Society members who donated $25,000 to take care of the shipping of this screen back and forth. And it's been in Masterpieces of Japanese Art, it's been in Women Breaking Boundaries. And I don't think we get to see it for another 4 years, because it's got to be in storage on that.